If you could only fish with one bait for the rest of your angling times, what would you use?
Hi, YouTube.
Hi guys, and welcome to First Time Fishing with me, Big Bird. We've got an absolute corker of a video for you today. We've got an interview special. Now this guy, what an angler. He's basically worked himself up from the beginning, from pleasure fishing and then going into a bit of match fishing and just testing things out like a lot of you do on the channel. And then he's also gone to progress even further, and we're going to go into a little bit of that detail shortly. But let me introduce you to Grant Merrett.
Thank you, good for having me on the channel.
That's all right, mate. And I think you're fresh off a match, aren't you?
Fresh off it today, yeah. Still a bit chilly from today.
Where have you been today?
Meadowlands, where I spend a lot of time there. So
Meadowlands has brought you a lot of success, hasn't it, at the minute?
It brought me a lot of success, learned a lot, met a lot of good people there as well. So
now this guy, he hasn't sort of entered the match scene with a bit of a bang. Grant holds the record at Barston for the highest match weight currently, which is, what was it,
467 pounds.
Talk me through it, mate.
So on the day, I drew peg 39, I think it was. It's the end peg on the island.
I've heard that is the peg to have over at Barston.
It can be really, really good. Sometimes they don't tend to catch a lot on a method feeder, how I caught. They tend to catch a lot of fish down the margin because you have a really long margin on that peg. I started fishing, started on the long pole as you do at Barston, trying to catch a big carp shallow. Hasn't happened, but I'm seeing fish rolling off the end of an island. On the end of an island, it's like a shallow bar, and there's like an old dead tree. So it's always just holds fish. I've chucked a feeder across there, and to say it was like one a chuck would be more like two a chuck. Yeah, I've had a brilliant day. I've caught like F1s to £10, caught carp nearly to £20, and like the last 2 hours was like an absolute joke. Literally, I took the rod out, it's about a 50-metre chuck, took the rod out, put the rod on the rest, and like before like any line sunk, the line's just zipping across along the top of the water.
Almost taking it like on the way down.
It's only landed into that much water,
really?
So like you chuck out, hits the bottom, and like the fish are just straight on it, and like, yeah, it was a bit of a walk in the park really, just one of them days where like...
Red letter day?
Yeah, it was a red letter day. Red letter day, mate, a lot of fish there. And I think, yeah, just a brilliant day. I'll never forget it, really.
And what was the poundage for your match weight?
£467.
£467.
Yeah. It was a bit of a good day, to be fair.
So, what sort of kit are you using to catch £467 in a match like that?
So, I taught you for the rod reel. Yeah. So the rod and reel. The rod was a Daiwa Tournament SLR 12 foot. 12 foot was probably a little bit overgunned, but it just, because it's overhanging tree, I just like to get it there nice and easy. I've used a TDR distance reel.
Oh, the distance reel. See, I've got the TDR 401.2s, which I think is an absolute phenomenal reel. Good reel. But yeah, I've never had the guts to go for the actual distance.
It just matches that rod up really well. I had a £6 Tournament ST line on the reel, 12-pound shocker, same material. I used a 30 gram XR feeder that you use. I know you use those. Yeah, we used a few.
Honestly, I can't believe the accuracy of those things. They just seem to fly straight.
Brilliant. Yeah, and just micros and a wafter.
Brilliant.
Job done, mate. It was just one a chuck, mate. It was one a chuck, yeah.
So I take it you're having to be quite accurate with this sort of stuff.
On the day, there's a bit of an overhanging tree. And I'm trying to get it underneath that into like the shallower water, probably like 15 to 18 inches. And I'll get it in there and then I'll be straight around. I'd have a fish within seconds at times.
So that obviously won you that match. Yeah. But we don't stop there with accolades, do we? I want to talk about your most recent sort of victory, as I would call it, because you've recently just taken part in the On the Flyer festival. Or
it was a 2-day practice festival for the final. So everyone basically that was in the final got obviously an invite into the practice day. Obviously going to that, I wanted to learn a little bit. I had a little bit of a plan already. Had a few pegs in mind where I wanted to be and what sort of weights you'd need. So first day, I've drew peg 12 on the deeps, and I've actually been on that peg 2 weeks before, and I caught 29 pound, and I think it got me third in the section.
So you've got a little bit of knowledge already on that peg, and would you have said that was quite key, having the knowledge of your venue?
Yeah, I think so, yeah. Yeah, I think so, yeah. So I had a bit of a plan. Plan was to fish pellets at 16 metres on the day, fishing little balls and micros. It's quite deep, it's like 10 foot deep, and like doing that normally wouldn't be the right thing to do. I've really tuned into pellets on Meadowlands at the moment. So I fished 60 metres, putting in little balls of micros and a formal expander on the hook. Ended up coming shorter at like 6-7 metres. It was 8 foot there. And I caught some better fish. I ended the match the first day with 39 pound, which ended up second in the section. Jordan Holloway actually beat me by 6 ounces.
Jordan Holloway beat you by 6 ounces.
Great angler, good lad as well. So I was a bit gutted with that, but realistically it was a good result. So
to be finishing around, professional anglers. So you're not sponsored yourself, are you? You're your own angler.
Yeah.
You get all your own kit, and you go along to these opens and these festivals with the intentions of doing really, really well.
Yeah.
So to finish amongst the likes of Jordan Holloway, but I believe we don't stop there after the second day, do we?
No. So obviously drew the second day. I drew peg 10 on the deep, which is actually the end peg, which is obviously 2 pegs down from where I was the first day. So again, I've got loads of knowledge. I've got 2 days on there now. So I basically fished the same match, but better, if that makes sense. Obviously started again, long. I fished 14 metres on that day.
It's almost because you've had that experience on the first day, you've almost gone straight back in there, and you've gone, I'm not changing the way I'm fishing, because it's obviously worked the day before, hasn't it? But because you've been practicing it the day before, you were a little bit hotter on it, yeah?
Yeah, it's a bit like going into autopilot, really.
Yeah.
But so I started on pellets. My catch rate was much better. Got into some better fish earlier. Obviously it's a silverfish festival, so only silverfish allowed. Yes, I had a real good 3 hours catching these like smaller skimmers, but with some better ones as well. And then later on, I've changed. The first day I actually fished pellet short. The second day I fished casters and shot worms. So I've been loose feeding casters quite heavy for the day. I think like 2 pints maybe. 2.5 pints of casters.
It's quite heavy, isn't it, for this time of year?
Yeah.
You see a lot of anglers on here, you hear the advice for winter fishing: don't overfeed. You can't take feed out of your peg once you've put it in. Yeah. You can always add a little bit more, etc. Yeah. But you're telling me that you've put 2 pints of casters in
3 hours. That was. So I put 2 pints in 3 hours. Gone on the line. It was about 7 to 8 foot there where I was fishing there, and caught these great big hybrids that live in Meadowlands. Great big hybrids, big roach, odd better skimmer. I've ended the match with, I think I had 50 pound 8 ounces, which was obviously, that's a brilliant day.
Yeah.
And I won the section quite comfortably.
So tell me, as a result, where did you finish overall?
So overall in the festival, that left me on 3 points, a 2 and a 1.
Just explain the points system.
Yeah. So I think the sections on the day were, I think there were 9 or 10 peg sections, can't really remember. And obviously the better you are on the day, the lower your points are. So if you win, you get 1. If you come last, you get 10. So obviously I come second the first day, first the second day. So that put me on 3 points. So Bagger Bennett took the match out both days.
So Andy Bennett's just absolutely blitzed it, yeah. But what an angler. Oh, awesome. So he's come first.
And he did it off 2 mediocre pegs as well.
Really?
Yeah, it's just in a league of his own, I think. Yeah, and so he won it. He won both days, 2 perfect scores. Then Lee Wright, he had the same points.
So Lee Wright's at Matrix, isn't he?
Yes.
He's sponsored by Matrix. He's a great angler, really good angler.
He had 3 points, beat me on weight, I believe, and then it was me. I obviously had 3 points.
So you've come third.
Come third overall, yeah.
Amongst those elite anglers. So what a result that is.
Yeah, I'm over the moon to come there. I put a lot of time in the last couple of years, especially leading up to this. But a lot of time in. I've obviously worked for myself, so I've got an odd day off work and go and learn, fine tune a few things, and I think paid off really, to be honest.
And 4th and 5th?
I can't really remember, to be honest with you.
Well, I can tell you.
Can you?
Yeah. I think Lee Kerry came fourth.
Yeah.
And fifth position, I'm sure, was Matt Godfrey.
Really?
Yeah.
He was actually in my section both days, and
Really?
real good guy. Spoke to him quite a lot. He's real nice guy, nice friendly guy.
Top anglers.
Yeah, brilliant. The top of the game.
When you're fishing as often as you are, you know, like, and as often as they are, and they're testing new gear out, etc., you know, and there's a couple of, like, there's Lee Kerry, you've got Matt Godfrey, they're fishing for England, aren't they?
Yeah,
and you know, and they are world class. So what a result, mate.
Yeah, over the moon to come there in that field. But I've got a few things that are going for me. Obviously, it drew quite well. I know the venue quite well. I was in tune with the venue. So there's that as well.
Don't play it down, mate. It's a great result. It's something that a lot of people aspire to be able to compete at that sort of level. But you're absolute carbon copy of what people could do if they practice their match fishing more, go out as often as they can, test things. And you know, I know that you fish a lot of meadowlands, don't you?
Yeah,
it's almost like it's your venue.
Yeah.
I would probably say a little bit like how Tunnel Barn Farm seems to be Paul Holland's venue, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So the fact that you know the venue so well is obviously going to play, you know what you're going to be doing from each peg to peg, don't you? So really, a big win's just round the corner, really, isn't
I'm hoping so.
I hope so for you, mate, because you're knocking on the door all the time, aren't you? Especially like, you know, the latest on the flyer finishing amongst those top anglers.
Yeah.
Like, that's a result, mate, and you need to take that away, and you need to be proud of yourself for that, because it's because it is it's a massive achievement. How is it that you got into fishing?
Well, my dad actually took me on.
And how many of us? It's our old man's, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, you know.
He actually took me when I was 4 years old.
Really?
And I've been hooked ever since.
You catch your first one at 4 years old?
4 years old, yeah. Fished my first match when I was 5.
Wow.
And
first match at 5 years old?
5 years old, I actually came third in that. So yeah. That was a junior match, obviously, but...
So I used to take part in junior matches,
Yeah.
but I was part of like a youth club at secondary school, so I was like 11 or 12, so I was a bit later than you. I did go with my old man, and we used to go up like Tunnel Barn, we'd go Arra Valley Lake over Redditch Way and stuff like that, and be a lot of bream in there and stuff, and we'd be catching the roach and what have you, and I think everybody sort of starts with the roach, don't they? Even if you go down the canal.
I remember I had a little 3 metre whip.
Did you?
Yeah. Actually, I used to fish like maggots or something down the edge, and then I used to catch a little roach, and I actually used to fish Bulkington Club. I used to fish with them, and they had 3 lakes, and one of the lakes had like great big carp and stuff in there, and like roach. We used to fish down here to the little roach, and I hooked my first carp, and that's all I wanted to do after that. Just catch big fish.
Yeah, catch the bigger fish. And I won't lie to you, I'm like that now.
Yeah.
I'm like, I can go roach fishing and stuff, and I see people who are fishing there all day, like down at Warwick, like on the river. They'll just sit there, like 12 metres out, and they'll just be pulling roach out all day, and it'll just keep coming and keep coming. Yeah. But I almost feel like I want that buzz, and I want that, you know, those...
excitement of a bigger fish.
That's it, and what's on the end of it, seeing your elastic fly out and stuff like that. Like, the excitement's just unbelievable. I find that when you know, I fished with that with the Superior X90, the new pole from Preston, incredible pole. Yeah. But as soon as we hooked into a fish that was about 6-7 pounds, it's starting to bend now. Like the poles that they're making are starting to bend like rods, and it was like the curvature in it, and I felt like I got like a 15-pound carp on in comparison to how poles used to bend. I think they're sort of trying to accommodate and acclimatise to the more commercial fishing now, knowing that there's bigger fish in there.
100%, yeah. These fishing commercial lakes now, like Medlands for an example, like they go to 20-odd pound in there. And like they're common to be caught. Even in the winter, you're catching them 15, 16 pound at times. Great big thing. And it's surprising in the winter what size of fish you can get out on certain really light gear. I know. Like you can get them out on 08. 08 diameter line. It's ridiculous.
We had I was testing out, I think it was the Matrix MTX4. Yeah. And I was fishing that at Tunnel Barn. That video's on on the page if you want to just check it out. But basically, the MTX4, I went out. We were fishing it at 16 meters, just dropping a few little micros, or it could have actually been maggots over the top.
Really?
Literally within 30 seconds, I had a bite, and I thought I just need to get a few bites so that we can see how it. No word of a lie, it's about a £6 F1 on the end of it, and it's in the middle of winter. But it was like, even that was bending. I was like, it feels big, this does, you know. So it does go to show in commercials now, you can be catching big fish all year round.
Yeah, 100%.
I've asked you to bring an item of tackle equipment, haven't I, that you could not do without.
Yeah, my pride and joy.
And it's absolutely like, I can't believe we've even got one in the actual kitchen, in the actual house. But we got the Daiwa Air Z Pro.
Yeah, phenomenal, mate. Very pricey. Obviously, not everyone's gonna be able to buy one of these. But if you're serious about your match fishing, then you need a serious pole, in my opinion. I'll talk you through a few things about the Air. Yeah. Obviously, it's really light, really stiff. It's probably the strongest pole I've ever used as well, which, to be fair, with light and stiff poles doesn't really go, but honestly, it's one of the strongest poles I've ever used. Brilliant in the wind, very good in the wind. I think that's probably where it stands up better to any other poles, I'd say, because it's so stiff and rigid. When the wind catches it, it like rewrites itself instantly. Obviously, that in turn is going to catch you more fish and get those extra few bites.
So obviously, everybody that's on the channel, we're all not obviously going to be able to afford, you know, the likes of a Daiwa Air Z Pro, which I think is coming in at around about £4,500, isn't it?
Yeah.
Which, don't get me wrong, it is an outstanding piece of kit if you are going to be match fishing, sit on the, you know, a serious level. But for those people who want to start out with pole fishing, okay, so people who are used to chucking a little waggler out or something like that, people who want to start with pole fishing, what's your recommendations for them?
There's like the Matrix MTX1, obviously the Garbolino UK 4, something like that. I'd probably recommend like a margin pole, like the Matrix Torque, or like the Preston Edge Monster.
Yeah.
Really good value for money too. Yeah. Dead strong. If you're going to make a mistake with one of those. Yeah. Not with like a top of range pole, because it's not good for your bank balance if you break a top of the range pole section. But yeah, if you're starting out, recommend you buying like an edge margin pole, because obviously dead strong. Put what elastic you want through them. If you're going to start out with pole, you're going to be a little bit, you know, clumsy and, you know, throw it around a little bit. You're better off having a dead strong pole. So
people who are used to, like, you know, using the wagglers and stuff like this, who haven't actually got into the pole yet and stuff like that, it's proper good fun, innit? When you've got like an 18 elastic on the end or something, and you're fishing for those monsters in the edge, like the Preston Edge Monster says that it does, like, and you've got one on the end, and you see that elastic go, and you know how strong that elastic is. It's proper excitement, innit?
Yeah. When you got something, a proper fish on down the edge with big gear on in the summer, I don't think there's anything better, to be honest. I love it. Absolutely love it.
What's your favourite method of fishing?
On the day, I love them all. But if I could pick one, probably be long pole fishing, like any sort of long pole fishing. I really enjoy that.
Shallow?
Yeah, I love a bit of long pole shallow. Yeah, I've had some good days doing that. Yeah, I've just spent months really fishing long pole. That's probably why it's my favourite. But on its given day, they're all my favourite. I love chucking a feeder. You know, I love fishing waggler. I love fishing down the edge.
I remember coming to. Where was it? Packington Summers to come and watch you the one day, and you had your rods. What rods have you got?
I've got an SLRs, but really I use like Free Spirit high S's, same as what you've got.
So you've got a Free Spirit high, and you were using it on the day, weren't you, at Packington Summers? And we could see the fish over the other side of the bank, couldn't we? Yeah. And you said, "I'm going to pellet waggler that, aren't you?" You were just like, and you absolutely chucked it out, weren't you? And you were bagging up like you would literally the waggler would just land on the water and it'd be straight under, and then you'd be going back and you'd be like, "Big bird, another one on." Just like,
sorry about
absolutely in awe that day.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, I was just in awe that day. Honestly, I think I came nearly bottom of the pack that day.
You did yourself proud, mate. You didn't do. Yeah, you did well.
So going back onto like accolades and, you know, your successes, Stafford Moor Festival.
What a place! First day, obviously it's a 5-day festival. First day I drew, I think it was called Oak. Can't really remember, to be honest. But it was an end peg, windward end peg. Obviously that's what dreams are made of, aren't they?
Yeah.
Caught a maggots and ground bait long carp, and then had a real good finish, like short with meat.
Daddy, is it okay if I go for a wee?
Yes, mate. Come here. So Grant here, Grant's won quite a few fishing matches, all right? What's one fishing question you could ask Grant?
What's the biggest fish you've ever caught?
What's the biggest fish you've ever caught?
Probably about a 25-pound mirror carp.
You know what? I think that's about. Hang on a sec. That's probably, what do you reckon? About the size of you? Yeah. Right, go on. Off you go. Off you go. We upstairs. Go.
And that actually, the way the peg was actually formed, there's like a bit of a big bay, and I could fish with a line kip on my rod. I could actually fish 2 spaces.
Brilliant.
And obviously mid-match, I've rotated them 2, caught an odd small carp through the match. I actually ended up winning the lake. Had 50, I'm going to say 52 pounds. That's what's coming to mind.
That's incredible. So you talk about horseshoes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I think that it is one of the most important things to look for when you go out into a match and you've got an island opposite you or you've got a bank. Finding a horseshoe or a little recluse that a fish can get into, they're normally always there, I find. I fished a match, I think it was Thorpe Fisheries. I fished a match there and I was told that I wanted this peg. Anyway, drew it. Right, and you know when you're buzzing because you've actually drawn the peg, and when I've approached the peg, I've seen it over in the distance. You've got this round island in front of you, but right where my peg was, it came round, but then it went in and then came back out, and I went, you could see them all because it was like 2 foot of water, and you could see all the dorsal fins going round. And literally, I just set up a hybrid feeder. I chucked it over there, clipped up, and every single time into that horseshoe, and came around winning the match with £90.
Yeah, they love it that time of year. Obviously, ran the spawning time all summer, and then as it's starting to cool down, they're getting that last bit of warmth. They just hugged that far bank. And to be fair, on the day, I actually left that far bank for as long as I could. Really? I let the anglers next to me fish the far bank, and they just pushed all the fish into my bay. So I don't know, when I went across, I caught really well.
So constantly thinking tactics as well. Knowing that fish are going to get spooked either side of you and they're going to move. And if they're going to come into your space, and then you're going to pick all the winning.
Yeah, they're not going to move once they're into this, because where the peg was quite a big bay. Obviously, there's a feeder landing here and a feeder landing there. Obviously, they're going to force the fish into mine. They're going to feed, obviously, but they're going to back off. And when I've gone on it after 2 hours, I've had a real steady. I didn't bag up, but I just caught enough. Just caught enough to stay in front, and obviously ended the match for £52. Won the section and the lake, and won the festival. 5 perfect days.
Fantastic, and a bit of a payout, I'd imagine.
Yeah, it was a good week. Yeah,
Happy days.
Yeah, good week.
Happy days. I have got a few quick fire questions for you, which we'll come on to in a minute. All right. Basically, I'm going to give you 2 items to tackle, and you're going to just pick one of what you prefer. All right. But we've seen that the Daiwa Air Z Pro is your thing you couldn't really live without at the moment in your match fishing. But what do you think is probably the most important thing for any angler? Whether you're starting or whether you're match fishing, anything.
To be fair, it's probably not a tackle, it's being confident of catching. Going there. It's not about having all the best gear and showing off. It all looks good, don't get me wrong, but obviously having confidence to go catching a few fish and enjoying it. Just enjoy it.
Because it don't catch you more fish the more expensive gear, does it?
It helps. Yeah. Don't get me wrong, it helps, but it doesn't. No, not really. No. Yeah. But yeah.
I know you were talking about landing the handles earlier, weren't you?
I think if you want to get into match fishing and you're quite serious about it, or just want something that's really reliable, I actually use a Free Spirit CTX landing handle. It's a 4 metre landing handle, double threaded. So obviously one, just call it the power handle, shall we say. It's got quite a...
So you can use that at like
Yeah.
3.2 metres or something,
Yeah,
can't you? And then you can extend it and have it at, is it 4 metres?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, I use mine a lot at 4 metres.
Yeah.
I just like the extra reach. Never broke it, never let me down, never even looked like letting me down. And I've caught some big weights, as we touched on earlier.
And the thing is with a landing net handle is every time you go fishing, you might not use the same rod. You might not use your pole.
Yeah.
You might not use... you use your same seat box all the time, but you could easily take a chair. But the one thing that you need every single time that you go fishing is that landing net handle, don't you?
Yeah.
Every time. It's the only consistent piece of kit you use
The
reliably.
one thing that always comes out of the bag is the landing net handle.
It is, isn't it?
100%.
Let's go for a few quick fire questions.
Come on then, let's have it.
So I've got a few quick fire questions.
Yeah.
So, hybrid feeder or method feeder?
Method feeder, shallow water, hybrid feeder for deep water.
Just because you've got that extra control and extra protection around the bait, yeah? Waggler fishing or feeder fishing?
Probably feeder fishing. I really enjoy feeder fishing.
I love the anticipation.
Yeah.
You don't necessarily have to have the concentration that you do with waggler fishing, do you?
Yeah.
But the thing is, when you've set it and you've set that, your line tight and everything like that, it's just waiting for that tip to go.
And that rod gets pulled round.
I love it, mate.
I don't think there's anything
I
better.
love it. I absolutely love it. Maggots or pellets? Come on, I want one. I don't want in the winter. I want maggots, and in the summer I want pellets. I want one. What if you can only fish with one? What's it going to be?
I'm going to say pellets.
If you could only fish with one bait for the rest of your angling times, what would you use?
Pellets.
Would you?
Yeah, would you?
Think they've become that reliable now?
Yeah, I do, yeah. I think everything eats them now. Yeah. On commercial lakes, everything eats a pellet. 100% pellets.
Okay. Bream or carp?
Bream.
Would you?
Yeah, bream, yeah.
Just loving them at the minute?
Just loving them. That's all I'm doing. That's all I want to do at the moment, just catch bream and skimmers.
Hollow or hybrid elastic?
Hollow elastic for me.
Every day of the week?
100%. I don't use any hybrid elastics.
Why? Because I won't lie to you,
Yeah.
I reckon hybrids come into its own. Really.
Yeah, I think there is a time and a place for hybrid elastic, but for me, hollow elastics never let me down. I know where I'm at with hollow elastic. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I use hollow elastic from 7 hollow, which is the Preston 7.
So are you Dura hollow?
It's actually the original hollow.
The original?
The original Preston hollow I use for my silverfish fishing, and obviously yellow hydro, which is obviously Darwa, and then anything bigger than like yellow hydro is all hydro elastics.
So what if you're fishing for carp? Are you still using like hydro elastic?
I use hydro, yeah. Hydro. It's dear, don't get me wrong, but in my opinion it's the best. So for carp, I'll use anything from blue, which is I think 5 to 8. I know it sounds quite light, but it powers up quite quick, and I use that all the way up to the big boy red hydro.
You see, I won't lie to you. So a lot of my gears, a lot of my top kits are with the hydro elastic.
Yeah.
But I do like that slick.
Yeah, I think...
I like the Matrix slick, mate.
A lot of people do, mate. A lot of people do like that. And the Preston one, the Jaw slip. That.
It's reliable.
Yeah.
It's forgivable.
Yeah.
And I think it's quite easy to pick what you need for. It's quite forgiving, I find.
Yeah. Obviously, I've found some in top kits and stuff. I have actually used some in the past, but for me, it's hollow elastic all the way for me.
What about shots or stots? So for those who don't know, shots are your balls, aren't they? The balls that you put on your line for your weight of your float, and then your stots are like cubes, aren't they?
Yeah.
So are you a cube man or a sphere man?
Wow, to be honest, I use both. So my silverfish fishing, I use shot. The reason I use shot is it doesn't move. So when I fish like a strung out rig, it goes in nice and they don't ever move when you're playing fishing and within the nets and stuff. But always summer carp fishing for me is stots, because you need them to move at times. They're nicer to your line as well, I think. I actually use both. So.
And then the big question, which I find, which is completely 50-50 as to whether anglers use whether they prefer one or the other.
Yeah.
Mono or fluorocarbon?
99% of my fishing is done with mono. I think there's a time and a place for fluorocarbon. Actually, for a lot of my silverfish, I actually use it as a hook length. I like it being a little bit stiffer.
You see, I won't lie. When I've put fluorocarbon into a tank with a mono, like there's no comparison. The fluorocarbon is invisible. It's like it's not there. But how can we still catch fish on mono? Do you know what I mean?
I think it's all up there. I think it's just a confidence. Just a confidence.
And you were saying about confidence earlier, and how important it is to use kit that you're confident with to enable you to catch the fish. It's like you get this pole out, you get your AirZ Pro out. You know that you're potentially using one of the best poles that's out there. So you feel that gives you confidence to then go out and perform.
Just little 1%, but the 1%'s in your favour, and they all equal, they all add up. So the more confidence and the more reliability you have in your kit, obviously the better you feel it's going to be.
So just quickly tell me, what's the future?
I'd like to make it into obviously a couple of big finals, a couple more big finals. Obviously try to win one would be really nice. And just enjoy my fishing really. Just keep enjoying it. I want to learn.
And I think that's the main thing, isn't it, Grant? You just have to make sure that you keep enjoying it, because then you keep doing it, don't you?
End of the day, for 99% of us, it's a hobby. Obviously, I take it quite serious, but just enjoy it. Just enjoy what you're doing. Enjoy being out on the bank. Enjoy being with good people as well. And I'd like to make it into some big finals. And win one. That's my biggest goal, I think.
And finally, what's your one piece of advice for people who are just starting out fishing, and your one piece of advice for people who are fishing regularly?
I'll say for the people that are fishing regularly, put the time in. Like I've put the time in. Keep on top of your preparation. Like earlier, ask a lot of people that fish venues that you go into.
Because you don't mind if people come up to you, do you? No. You don't mind if people come up to you and go, how have you fished that match? How have you done this? How have you done that? Because it seems to be an unspoken rule as well, doesn't it? About anglers, when you've been successful, you're more than happy to share what you've done in that match with somebody
100%. Yeah. Anyone wants to ask me what I'm doing, I'll 100% show you. I'll give you my rigs if I have to, show you my bait, whatever.
I'll hold you to that, I'll have some.
And I think for people that are just starting out fishing, don't be going and spending loads and loads of money on this, that and the other. Just buy some basics of like your margin poles or like decent-ish float rods.
But this is what I've found recently. I think a lot of the bigger tackle companies have found that there is that market, that missing market of the cheaper stuff. Like you look at the Guru A-class rods. I think they've just won an award with the Angling Times. Entry level rods. I think they're very similar to the old Daiwa Yank Banks. Like that was a quality rod, wasn't it? Like your 10, 11 foots for your commercials.
The thing is nowadays, like your 50 to 100 pound rods, they were flagship rods 10 years ago. But now
I don't even think 10 years ago, Grant. I think it's like 3 or 4 years ago.
The gear and like the
carbon technology has just accelerated, hasn't it? Just look at these helical rods in comparison to the CTXs. I don't think there's a lot of difference in them. Obviously the finish is a lot different and stuff like this, but and your reel seat is different. It's not. I don't think it's complete Fuji and stuff like this, But the play that you're getting in these new carbons is exceptional, and you don't need to spend that much. I would completely agree with you.
I think all the fishing tackle, all the manufacturers now, they all do good gear. Your Prestons, your Daiwas, your Mavers, your Matrix, your Garbolinos, they all do good gear, all of them. And like they all do like a budget range, and you're going to have your top end range and then your middle range. There's something for everyone, but what I will say is just don't go spending loads and loads of money to start with. Just go out and again just enjoy your fishing. Just be happy to be fishing. Because some people they can't go fishing at the end of the day.
Yeah, you're right.
Go out, enjoy your fishing. And if you're really liking it, take it to the next level.
Top man, well, thank you so much for coming and chatting with me today. It's been a right eye opener.
Yeah, I've enjoyed it, man. I've really enjoyed it.
I've learnt loads anyway, even off camera. We've just been having chat, just talking fishing, haven't we?
And anyone that watches this and wants to have a chat with me or ever sees me on the bank, come and see me, come and say hello. You know, you want to know anything, I'll try and help you.
Top man, top man. Well, I don't know whether at the end of first time fishing we normally say a little phrase like at the end, and you know, if you're fishing this weekend, tight lines. So I don't know whether you just want to like look over to that, down that camera for me and just finish the video off.
Of course I will. If you're out this weekend or any weekend or whenever, tight lines, I know you catch an absolute boatload. See you later.
Cheers, Brad.
See you later.